message to our leaders in Washington, D.C. that we will stand up and fight back to protect our kids and protect our schools. We know that they're trying to give billionaires tax cuts while they decimate the Department of Education, and we're not going to let it happen. But we need to get at the why here. We need to get at the why, and you're going to hear about the why. I am excited to introduce Ambar Rojas Santiago, who is a student at ESIMS and a representative of the Semilla Collective, who is doing the real work on the ground every day to make sure our students' needs are met. So I am excited to invite Ambar to come on up. Give it up for Ambar! She's a leader and she's going to break it down for you right now.
Okay, hello. Can you guys hear me?
That way for pictures. Yeah. And move which one? Have her move that way a little bit. That way a little bit. There you go. I don't know what it is. Turn it off. I don't know what's is it. There you go.
Hello. There you go. Can you guys hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ambar Santiago Rojas. I want to begin by asking us to take a moment of silence for Jocelyn Rojo Carranza, who died by suicide last February after bullies threatened to call ICE on her parents. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge the stolen land of the Quinnipiacs that we are currently standing on. I'm a 17-year-old senior at ESOMS and a proud member of the Semilla Collective and the New Haven Immigrants Coalition. A proud daughter of immigrants, and most importantly, someone who refuses to stay silent when my community is under attack. We are here today because the future of our education and the future of millions of kids across this country is on the line. The proposed federal education cuts would devastate students like me. They would gut special education programs, slash funding for low-income schools, take away resources from English learners, and make college even more unaffordable for working-class families such as mine. These cuts aren't just numbers. They mean losing teachers, losing support, and losing opportunities that could change lives. Here in New Haven, our public schools are already struggling. We are started this school year with an $11.8 million shortfall. We don't have enough funding for books, technology, or even basic student services. Our teachers are doing their best, but without proper resources, how can we expect students to thrive? If these cuts go through, it will only get worse, hurting the kids who need public education the most. But this fight is not just about school budgets. It's about who gets the chance to succeed and who gets left behind. As a member of the New Haven Immigrants Coalition, I know firsthand how much families in this city rely on our schools. Not just for education, but for meals, for support, and sense of safety. When politicians attack our public schools, they are attacking us. I have been involved in this fight for years. I remember when New Haven families, immigrant mothers, kids just like me, stood up against the Trump's immigrant policies because they feared being separated from their loved ones. I was 7 years old, but I saw the power of community coming together. The same power is in this crowd today. We are here to say we will not let them take away our futures. This is demand to feed our federal representatives. Do not cut kids for tax cuts, or you are going to face me and my community. Fight for education. This is a demand to our state leaders. Say no to block grants. Say no to slashing school funding. And to every student, teacher, parent, and ally here today, we are the future that is present here and now. They want us to sit back and accept these cuts, but I am here to fight. We are here to say education is our right, not a privilege. And we are here to make sure every child in this city and this country has a chance to succeed. The fight starts here, right now. Now I will say all of this in Spanish. Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Ambar Santiago Rojas. Quiero empezar pidiendo un momento de silencio por la muerte de Jocelyn Rojo Carranza, quien se quitó la vida el pasado mes de febrero a consecuencia del acoso por parte de sus compañeros de la escuela, amenazándola con que le iban a llamar a ICE para que deportaran a sus papás. Gracias. También quiero empezar reconociendo la tierra en la que actualmente estamos parados, que fue y sigue siendo de los Quinnipiacs. Soy una estudiante de último año en la preparatoria de ISOMS. Tengo 17 años. Soy una orgullosa miembro del colectivo de Semilla y de la coalición de inmigrantes de New Haven. Y mucha honra con una orgullosa hija de inmigrantes. Y lo más importante, soy alguien que se niega a permanecer en silencio cuando mi comunidad está bajo ataque. Estamos aquí hoy por el futuro de nuestra educación. Y el futuro de millones de los niños en todo el país está en juego. Los recortes federales propuestos a la educación van a devastar a estudiantes como yo. Estos recortes federales van a destruir los programas de educación especial. Van a recortar los fondos para las escuelas de bajo ingresos. Van a despojar los recursos de los estudiantes que están aprendiendo inglés. Van a hacer que la universidad sea aún más inaccesible para las familias de clase trabajadoras como la mía. Estos recortes no son solo números, significa perder maestros, perder apoyo y perder oportunidades que podrían cambiar vidas. Aquí en New Haven, nuestras escuelas públicas ya están sufriendo. Según el Yale Daily News, comenzamos este año escolar con el déficit de $11.8 millones. No tenemos suficientes fondos para libros, tecnología o incluso servicios estudiantiles básicos. Nuestros maestros están haciendo lo mejor que pueden, pero si estos recortes se aprueban, la situación solo empeorará, perjudicando a los niños que más necesitan la educación pública. Pero esta lucha no es solo para los presupuestos escolares. Se trata de quién tiene la oportunidad de tener éxito y quién se quedará atrás. Como miembro de la coalición de inmigrantes de New Haven, sé a primera mano cuánto dependen las familias de esta ciudad y nuestras escuelas. No solo para la educación, sino también para los alimentos, el apoyo y la seguridad. Cuando los políticos atacan nuestras escuelas públicas, nos están atacando a nosotros. He estado involucrada en esta lucha por años. Recuerdo cuando las familias de New Haven, madres, inmigrantes y niños como yo, se opusieron a las políticas de migración de Trump, porque no querían ser separadas de sus seres queridos. Yo tenía 7 años. En ese entonces era muy pequeña, pero vi el poder de una comunidad cuando se une. Ese mismo poder está aquí y ahora en nuestra multitud. Estamos aquí para decir que no vamos a permitir que nos arrebaten nuestro futuro. Estas son nuestras demandas a nuestros representantes federales. No recorten el apoyo a los niños o se les verán conmigo y mi comunidad. Luchen por nuestra educación. Estas son nuestras demandas a nuestros líderes estatales. Digan no al bloqueo de nuestras subvenciones. Digan no a recortar los fondos escolares. Para todos los estudiantes, maestros, padres y aliados que están aquí hoy, somos el futuro que está aquí, hoy presente. Quieren que nos quedemos con brazos cruzados y aceptemos estos recortes. Pero yo estoy aquí para luchar. Estamos aquí para decir que la educación es un derecho, no un privilegio. Estamos aquí para asegurarnos que todos los niños de esta ciudad, de este país, tengan la oportunidad de triunfar. La lucha aquí mismo y ahora. ¡A la lucha!
Thank you, Amber. We are here today because we want to hear from our students. We want to hear from union members. We want to hear from community people. And I know that there are elected officials here with us today, and we want to thank you from elected Board of Ed members, from alders, from state senators and state reps. I just got to highlight my own alder mayor is here, Campton Singh, Ward 5, and my own state senator is here, Gary Winfield. So the only reason why I'm naming those two is because I get to vote for them. And I know many more of you out here are alders, our Board of Ed representatives, and representatives at the state level. Thank you for being here. We're going to count on your support moving forward. Also, our Congresswoman, she's in D.C. right now for the event happening later today. But her special guest, our Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, invited the New Haven and the Connecticut Teacher of the Year NHFT member, Julia Miller, to be her guest to witness what's going down there today. They will bear witness and they will continue to fight the fight. But I want to remind you all, the New Haven folks here today, that this isn't just a New Haven fight. I know New Haven can show up when there's a rally. Let me hear it. Can New Haven show up when there's a rally? This isn't just about New Haven. This is about the entire state. We have folks from all over the state here. And specifically, we have an organization from New London here today, Hearing Youth Voices. Because what is this about? This is about protecting our kids and hearing the youth's voices. So I'm excited to introduce the Executive Director of Hearing Youth Voices, Maya Shepard. She's going to share some words with you all today. What's up, everybody? When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. That's right. I am Maya Shepard. I'm the Executive Director of Hearing Youth Voices. We center hundreds of working-class young people that lead issue-based campaigns towards a more just society. And that society needs to be built on racial, gender, education, and economic justice. That's right. And all of these things are linked. We can't have one without the other. Our schools are facing years of intentional neglect, y'all. This is by design. It is not a coincidence. And it's unacceptable. We must demand that our elected officials make public education funding a priority and resist the pressures of authoritarian attacks that threaten the safety, the care, and culture of our public school buildings. Almost 40% of Connecticut's K-12 school student population attends a Title I school. That means that we are at least jeopardizing the quality of life and education for over 250,000 students across the state. And that's unacceptable. In some ways, this divestment begins when our young people are born. We are born and we have to fight for access to quality health care. We are born and we have to fight for access to fair and safe housing, for livable wages to support ourselves and our families, and for decades our communities have fought. And we won't give up, and we'll keep clawing at a system that is rigged, y'all. It's rigged against us, but we cannot give up. We say no more. No more cuts. No more cuts. What is the message that we're sending to all of our young people today if every year we cut, and we divest from their futures? We need long-term solutions to a funding crisis, and we can begin by addressing the challenges put in place by the fiscal roadblocks. No more shortcuts, y'all. We must undo an upside-down tax structure that leaves families that make less paying the price and gives billionaires all of the breaks. Education is a right, and so that is why we fight. Education is a right, and that is why we fight. Last year in New London, our youth leaders organized their elected officials to pass a $1.5 million increase in the school budget in similar conditions, y'all. And they deserve more. They organized their educators, their parents, their peers, and their school board members to be bold and to push for more. They did this because they know that less funding will affect their future. It means larger class sizes and they don't get the attention that they deserve. It means that we have to lay off dedicated teachers that pour themselves into investing in our future. And they know that cutting essential programs like after-school programs and summer camps for kids that that help them form foundational memories and is a huge support for parents. That's what it looks like in New London. We're losing these essential programs. No more! We call on all our teachers, all of our parents, our students, our elected officials, do your job. Join us in this fight, and together we can make a difference and ensure that every child in our state
has access to a quality public education. Our future deserves better. Let's make sure we get it.
Like we said, we're going to hear from students, we're going to hear from union members. As you all know, New Haven Federation of Teachers stands in solidarity with AFSCME Local 3429. Every day, we don't just stand in solidarity with them when we go make comments at the Board of Ed meetings. We stand in solidarity with them because our classrooms in New Haven Public Schools will not function without our para-educators. Our students, who are our most vulnerable learners, will not get their needs met without our para-educators. We know our para-educators are the mothers and the grandmothers of our students, and what's good for the families of those students and our para-educators is good for all of us. So I'm so honored to introduce to you this afternoon the president of the Paraprofessionals Union, Heiklis Williams, a good friend and an amazing leader.
Because all our futures, whether we're students, parents, educators, we're all tied together. And when there's an injury to one, it's an injury to all of us. My name is Heiklis Williams. I'm the president of Paraprofessionals Local 3429, representing over 400 paraeducators and support staff in New Haven Public Schools. We play a very integral role in our school and our communities. And when our students face challenges with their social and emotional skills, we guide them with empathy and purpose. That's right. We see our schools being underfunded year after year. We see our students with special needs fall further and further behind. And we try everything we can to fill those gaps, all while we ourselves can't even make livable wages or retire with dignity. In one of the richest states and the richest country in the world, that is very, very wrong. Right. Our students have suffered learning loss from the pandemic. Parents and educators alike are burnt out and leaving the profession. And austerity budgets have only made this worse. Now, anti-unions and extreme billionaires want to cut education even further, hurting the most vulnerable students like those with disabilities. Cuts to education will have a ripple effect for generations to come. The opportunities for economic mobility that many of us come to access to education will rapidly fade into the past of slavery. We cannot let that happen. We will not let the super rich determine our future. Will we allow cuts to our kids and to fund tax breaks to the rich? No. Will we let them cut vital programs that provide childcare to low-income families? No. So what do we do when we are under attack? Stand up, fight back! What do we do when we're under attack? Stand up, fight back! And that means all of us working together. It means we will be that village, the parents, caregivers, union members, teachers, students, friends, and neighbors, all raising our voices and using our collective power to fight for our students, for our schools, and our community. We will say to ICE, no dice, not our students. We will protect them like a hen that gathers her chicks under her wings. That's right. Let us stand together to shape a future where every student shines brightly and every educator is empowered. Together, we can break down the barriers of budget cuts, ensuring that education remain a priority, not a casualty.
Thank you, Heiklis. Give it up for Heiklis Williams, educators president. Let's talk about those budget cuts for a minute. Let's talk about those budget cuts. We know what we could lose if Musk and Trump get their way and cut the funds that we get from the federal government. New Haven alone, and we have the mayor of New Haven right here, who is working hard to fund our schools. New Haven alone could lose $21 million when Musk gets out his little chainsaw and thinks he's coming for our kids and our education. Are we going to let it happen? No! Are we going to let it happen? No! We will not let it happen. These are our funds. These are our kids. And the whole reason why they want to do it is so that they can deliver tax breaks for billionaires. And let's be real. Let's bring it local to Connecticut. Connecticut has 17 billionaires who live here in our state. The 17 wealthiest people in this state. Their wealth has increased by such an obscene amount since the pandemic that we should not accept what we are hearing from Governor Lamont right now when it comes to funding our schools at the state level. Our hard-working representatives in the legislature, in the House and the Senate, they want to be reasonable. They want to adjust the fiscal roadblocks to ensure that funding, the billions in funding that are trapped in the surplus, they want to be reasonable and get those funds delivered down to communities like New Haven. They want to be reasonable. Governor Lamont is the obstacle right now. He is incredibly unreasonable when it comes to delivering those funds. And we've also heard, our legislature put together a special committee for special education. They did listening tours throughout this state to hear from students, parents, union members. And here's what I like to tell people about those listening tours. I went to a couple of them. Where in a room do you have union leaders, students, parents, administrators, superintendents, elected officials, all saying the same thing? We were all in agreement that special ed needs more funding. So what did our representatives do? They delivered a $40 million increase for special education. And what did Governor Lamont turn around and do? He did a line item veto. So, what you have to do is contact your representative and make sure that we overturn that veto. Look, I'm a proud member of Connecticut AFL-CIO. We hit the doors this fall to elect pro-union representatives at the State House. If now isn't the time to make sure those representatives overturn that veto, I don't know what is. So please call your representatives and overturn that veto. It means a great deal to our most vulnerable students throughout this state. So, we've got work to do, not just on special ed. We've got work to do on the fiscal roadblocks. We've got work to do turning this backwards tax system right on its head so that way the wealthiest among us are paying what they owe in taxes and working people can hold on to more of what they need and make sure that the services that they rely on are protected. So again, this is not just about pre-K-12. This is about our communities. And now I'm ready. You guys are in for a treat. All right, I'm very lucky as the president of New Haven Federation of Teachers that I get to go places where my national president is. My national president is a teacher, first and foremost, and I remember watching her in some of the first meetings and saying, wow, she's got the ability to break it down in a way that is truly inspiring and will truly leave you ready to go fight. Because again, she's going to tell you, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Save the date. We already hang out on the green on May 1st anyway. But save the date because there will be things happening on May 1st. So be ready. But without further ado, I want you to hear direct from my president from the American Federation of Teachers about why we're here today. Folks, Randy Weingarten.
So, first off, I am so honored to be with all of you from New London and New Haven. Yes, I know we are in New Haven, but I wanted to talk about New London. And all of the young adults who played for us as we went marching.
Yes.
I need the link so I can help fundraise for you, for the kids.
Okay, we'll get it to you.
Good. But what is really important about what you're doing here is that the community has come together, has not let people pick people apart,
That's right.
and has come together and has focused on what our kids need and how to protect our kids. And whether it's parents or teachers or guidance counselors or paraprofessionals, whether it is clergy or other members of community, whether it is a school superintendent or whether it is legislators, I wanted to be in New Haven today to honor you and your work. And when I say that, look, we started, New Haven does this, has the muscle. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not talking about the muscle for running. I'm talking about the muscle for protesting. I'm talking about the muscle to use our outside voice, not just our teacher voice, not just our cafeteria voice. You have the muscle. You have developed this muscle. And you need that because of all the things that are happening in terms of the state and all of the inequality that is visited on Connecticut, where, by the way, the new Secretary of Education comes from. Another reason I wanted to be in her backyard today, because maybe that memo that she wrote yesterday may be her final memo, but it is not the final memo for the Department of Education and for all of your future. Today, just so you know, as we stand here in this park all day long, including this afternoon, there are over 2,000 actions like this around the country saying and proclaiming the same thing. Now, a lot of people like going to Washington, D.C., and that's fine. Washington is nice, particularly in the spring. What's really important is when we fight locally. Because when we fight locally, we are educating people about what bad things they are doing in Washington, D.C. When we go to Washington, what ends up happening is that they just say, and you'll hear it tonight if you stay up and watch Donald Trump perform. He will say, it's my version of the American dream versus theirs. He calls us today, paid protesters, not people from neighborhoods who are trying to make sure our kids, all kids, have a real future. Not just the kids of billionaires, but all kids. So when we actually fight and protest and educate and do clap-ins and walk-ins and teach-ins and marches in the streets across the United States, then what happens is it's we the people. It's we the people. It's we the people who cannot be deterred. It's we the people who cannot be silenced. And that is why I wanted to be, of the 2,000 events today, I've been to a couple before, I wanted to be with you tonight, this afternoon, to honor the work that you have done in New Haven as a community to protect our kids and protect our public schools. And what is it? Everyone before me has been so incredibly eloquent about the faith, about what we're trying to do. Let me say what's going on in the country right now in terms of education. You'll hear a lot more, you know what, later on tonight. How is it there's about $90 billion of funding that comes from the Federal Department of Education, not discretionary, but because of all the fights we have made up until now, including your Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, we don't let, because of these fights, the money can't be taken by billionaires. It can't be taken to vouchers. It can't be taken for privatization. The money we're talking about right now, the funding that they're trying to gut right now, is for kids who are poor. It's for Title I. It's for the reading specialists and the paraprofessionals and the computers and the lower class sizes that are not enough in New Haven, not enough in New London, but could you imagine if that dollar, that 10% was taken away? What it would mean, how we would find that money on top of everything else we need. But what we have done as a union and as a community for all these years is we have fought to get that money directly to schools. It doesn't stop at the State Department of Education. It doesn't stop at the Federal Department of Education. They don't take things from it. It goes right to our kids for the services they need. And the same happens. I can't believe I have to be a civics teacher, but people don't know this. The same, you know this, but the world doesn't know this. The same is true for IDEA, for kids with special needs. Now, we don't get enough money. They were supposed to fund 40%, not 17%. But, yes, boom, they were supposed to. We were supposed to get more. But think about it. Who's going to fund the occupational therapists, the physical therapists, the support personnel, if we don't have that money in schools going directly to schools? You think private schools are going to do that for our kids with special needs? And then let's talk about our kids who are in rural areas, and let's talk about our kids who are in career and tech ed, and let's talk about our kids who are limited English and need English help, and let's talk about our kids who go to college as the first in their families, and they need funding to do it. All of that is what we are fighting for today. These are essentials. So tell me, let me talk to Elon directly. Really? Really? You're going to take this money from our students for a tax cut that you don't need? Or let me talk to Linda McMahon directly. You're going to take this money that you know students need so you can give it to vouchers for rich folk? We know the answer. And we know, because they're even thinking about it, that we got to fight.
That's right.
And we got to fight hard.
That's right.
And we got to fight not only in Rosa DeLaura's district, but we have to fight in every district in Connecticut. We have to fight in every district in the United States of America. Because if we want a future, we need to fund a future.
Yes.
And if we want our kids to succeed, we need to support them and respect the people who work with them.
Yes.
That is why we, across the country, said, no, we're not scared.
That's right.
We're standing up.
Yeah.
And we're standing up to not only save public education, but to save the promise and the potential of public education for each and every one of our young people who deserve a future. They deserve it, and that's why we're fighting for it. As Leslie just said, this is the first, not the last. This is one very tough fight. Maybe the toughest we've ever had. But we, as a community, staying together, fighting for our future, fighting against this dystopian view of future, fighting for what really matters for working families, finding that light in this darkness. If we stay together, and if we fight together, and if we have each other's back, and we make sure we the people actually ensure that our elected representatives understand what's going on, and more important to them than them, that our colleagues and our neighbors know what's going on, then we will win.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
And the last thing I'll say is this: we have to win. We have no choice. Our democracy depends on it. Opportunity depends on it. Our future depends on it. We must win, and we must win this fight to fund our public schools and to protect our children. Thank you.
Thank you, New Haven, because when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here. This is a beautiful coalition of leaders, of elected officials, of students, educators, union members from across the city and state. Our work is clear. We will fight to protect our kids. We will fight to fund our schools. Connect with each other. Connect with our elected officials here. Meet someone new and commit to continuing this work, because we've got a long road ahead, but we will fight. Because when we fight,